left hand and lay it on top of your strings. Don't press them down. You're just going to do a mute on that. In your right hand, you can use a thumb or a pick. It doesn't matter. And you're just going to follow along with me. So, all aboard for Rockfest. Everybody off. All aboard for guitar games. Oh, derail. So welcome to Guitar Games. This is the time to have fun. But just like musicians, athletes, just like musicians warm up, right? We don't say musicians warm up like athletes. Athletes warm up like musicians. So if you could put your hand up and say stop. Take your first finger now. Please listen before you do. You're going to gently pull it back. But if it hurts, stop. Okay? But gently pull your finger back. You can go to the next one. These are some little stretches for your hands. If you are an exennial, meaning you're not millennial or Generation X, you're starting to notice that your fingers are getting a little stiffer when you play. If you're a Gen Xer or a baby boomer, they might be even more stiffer. So this is a way to kind of loosen them up a little bit. My name is Beth Poquette Drews, and I am coming from Dallas, Texas, where I teach middle school modern band. I'm excited to say that I think we might be the first program in the country to have an assistant modern band director. So very excited for that. And these games are tried and true games. They work for middle school, they work for elementary school, and they work for high school. They start with day 1, and they go all the way up to day end of the year. Stretch over here, over here. Reach up high. Don't hit anybody on the way down. All right, perfect. So this is what it looks like when you have 6th graders in the first week of school. So they got their guitar, they've dropped it on the floor a few times because they didn't listen to you, and they've probably broken a string because you told them not to do it and they did it anyway. So let's take a look at what they do. So as you notice the class, they were scared because I had the camera on them. But this is probably one of those high energetic classes. If you're coming to Melody to Mayhem tomorrow, my presentation, it was inspired by this group of students you see here. What do you think about their comfort zone in here? Those kids comfortable with what they're doing? No. You know, they look pretty still. They're doing it. They're doing it. Are they successful? Yeah. And they're actually comfortable. The only reason why that one kid was nervous, he said, I don't want to be on the camera, and I had an assistant, he kept going. But they were very successful at that. Did they have to have any prior knowledge about guitar to really do that activity? No, they could just copy and do it. So here's some directions for the train. We just did that, so I'm not going to go over it. But this slide will become available to you on the internet. It will be linked onto the Sketch website so that you can click back on this. When you go home, you're like, that was cool, I forgot how to do it. You'll have all the directions of how to do it. So when you're writing a lesson plan, if you are a music teacher, or if you're a person in an after-school program that requires you to make documentation of what you're doing in an after-school program, these are the techniques that are being taught. You're teaching them how to strum. We take that for granted that they know to go from nose to toe. So you get this, all right, we've seen that strumming. Okay, you get this, but nose to toes, nose to toes. It teaches them mute. It teaches accelerando and retardando. Those are always hard concepts to do in modern band because if you think about it, most popular music don't have accelerandos or retardandos in them, especially not in the 2, 3, 4 chord songs. You know, your social studies teacher is doing a unit on trains and public transportation. Hey, I'm going to be part of your unit. So now you're cross-curricular and your principal loves you because you're supporting somebody else in the school. It also is student-centered because they are probably familiar with what a train is and mimicking a train, and it also is very comfortable to do. Everybody here was successful, and most people were smiling, and some people were even starting to make the train sounds as we went along. You'll notice in the video the whistle. That's Joshua. You'll hear a lot about Joshua, but Joshua just decided, oh, I'm going to whistle. And so he added that in on his own. That's an improvisational sound. And I used to teach. Seems like you live there, doesn't it? Teach next to the light rail line. So my classroom, whenever the train would go by, if we were doing the train activity, I'd give them 10 bonus points. And the kids were really excited about that. They're like, hey, that's really cool. So we'd be playing, and they'd be listening not only to what they were doing, but they'd listen for the train. Well, Joshua got smart, and he got a copy of the train schedule. And we would be doing something really, 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 high concentration. The kids, you could see it on their face, and all of a sudden, Joshua, yes, we got to do the train now. And all of a sudden, you would hear the train go by. So we had to end that, but it was a lot of fun. All right, so this is really great. We're going to do C to G chords. So there's 2 ways you can do C to G. You can do it 3 strings, where you put your finger in box 1, string 2, and strum only the bottom 3 strings. That's the C. Or if you'd like to do a full C chord, it's box 1, string 2, box 2, string 3, and box 3, string 4. Remember, we're like an elevator. We start at the bottom when we number, and we go up. And that's a full C chord. Give me 4 C's. Ready, set, go. Perfect. Now, we're going to move to G or G7. If you're doing a 3-string chord, you're going to take your finger, which currently is in box 1, string 2, and you're going to move it to box 1, string 1. And you're going to strum the bottom 3 strings. If you're doing full chord, if you do a G7, it's box 1, string 1, box 2, string 5, and box 3, string 6 is G7. So this game, if you do full chords, you want to do G, like regular G instead of G7, totally cool. So in this game, we're going to strum 4 times. We're going to tap 4 times. While we're tapping, we're going to change to our new chord. For example, if you're doing the 3 strings, come on and join me. Here we go. C. Next time we're going to do only 3 taps. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Now we're going to do 2 taps. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. Now we're going to do 1 tap. no taps. Excellent. So what were some things we did to make this accessible for many different levels of players? We added taps so you have time to think about what you're changing to. Perfect. Yeah, you can do the easy 3-string chords, or you can do the full chords, which is perfect, especially if you're doing like a 5th or 6th grade class. And some kids can do the full chords, and some kids can't quite do the full chords yet. So you can choose which works best for that student's situation. What else did we do?
We all did it together, so nobody noticed when I made it.
Exactly. So, and also when you're all working together, who are you really concentrating on? Yourself and the teacher. Okay? And that's a really important thing to talk to your students about, that everybody in the room is not staring at you, they're busy staring at their own guitar. And that helps bring that comfort zone in, that, like, oh, okay, well, I messed up, nobody knows except me.
We gradually got faster by having fewer taps in between the chord changes, so that by the time we got rid of the taps, our fingers knew what they were doing, and it was a piece of cake by the end.
They do. This also helps you push the kids. You'll notice when you start beginning chord changing activities, we get stuck in just like, okay, this speed, it's nice and slow, it's nice and slow. Let's play a song, and they can't change the chords fast enough. This is a way to force them into starting to change the chords faster, because they'll want to win the game. And how do you win this game? That you're able to switch without any taps in between. Yeah, we maintain the beat. And you will find that that's hard, because what do they want to do in this? They're going to want to speed up if they have gotten more dexterous, or if they are really early in learning, they're going to want to stop and go like this. And if they want to do that, you know, and they catch you under their later beat, they'll join in. So, yeah. All right, so what does it teach? You guys got all that in there. We also add the core value of scaffolding in there. You'll notice there's a green blob on there. Why is it that the kid who's not media release seems to be in every photo? Want to ask that. So it's not that I don't like him. He's a wonderful child, but he's there. All right, next one. Here's a data wall. How many of you have to do some type of data activity at your school? A couple of you? So what this tells you is you can every time they master the 4-chord tap at a certain tempo, you can write in when they mastered that. And then if you have multiple classes, you can make it kind of like a competition, like, ooh, who got it at 50 beats, who got it at 72? What also does that teach? Yeah, vocabulary, all those vocabulary words that are often written into the curriculum, into your national standards. So they're all there. So data wall. Speed racer. All right, right now I need you to turn to a partner and introduce yourself to your partner. You might have to look behind you. You might need to be a trio. If you need to be a trio. Awesome. So, now that you've introduced you, now that you've introduced yourselves, you are best friends and you've known each other your entire life. You're 10 years old, so you've known each other for 10 years. And because they always measure time from when they were born. And so there's no pressure here. If you make a mistake, it doesn't matter because they're your BFF, so everything is really cool. Got it? Perfect. So what we're going to do is you're going to right now decide who's person 1, who's person 2, and who's person 3.
3.
Well, some people have trios. Oh. Yeah. If you're just a pair, then you have 1 or 2. If you have a trio, you're 1, 2, 3. All right. So, you're going to work on switching from C to G7. You can do simple chord, or you can do full chord. It's your choice. Or as in Texas, we call them cowboy chords. Okay. This is 1. This is 2. This is 1. This is 2. This is 1. This is 2. Understand how we count them? All right. I'm going to set the timer, and you're going to count how many times your partner changes. You're not changing if you're person 1. Person 2 is changing. Person 1 is counting. Person 2 is changing. Make sense? Okay. If you're person 3, you can also count. You can do whatever you like to do. Okay. The idea is to do it as fast as you can. However, if you make a mistake, it doesn't get counted. It only counts if you played the chord and pressed the strings down. So if this was supposed to be C and I did this, that doesn't count as 1. Okay?
I don't understand. Is this 1, 2, 3, 4,
Yes.
5, 6?
Yes.
So you're counting each chord, not the pair as 1.
Correct.
Okay.
You're counting each chord.
Can you demonstrate with someone maybe that will help, I guess?
Sure. Chris, can you come up? This is my partner in crime, Chris. Okay. We just celebrated our 10-year anniversary, so. All right. So the timer would start.
Okay, so
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, etc.
for how long?
Well, you need to determine in your class. We're going to do it for about 20 seconds, which means you might just get 2 chords, and that's okay. It's how fast you can go. So if you only get 2 chords, you get 2 chords. If you get 100 chords, you get 100 chords. You're looking confused. Do you have a question? Let's try it out and see if we got it work. Ready? Let's try it. On your mark, get set, go. And stop. If you're the counter, tell the player how many they got. All right. Okay, now, person number 1 is the player. Person number 2 and 3 are counters. Okay, so you've switched roles. Okay. On your mark, get set, go. And stop. Tell your partner how many they got. Okay. All right. So, if you're in a trio, person number 3 is going to play, and person 1 and 2 will count. If you're in a pair, you can decide which person wants a redo. Who wants to replay? Okay. Every group has a player. Every group has a counter. On your mark, get set, go. And stop. Okay, raise your hand if you got one or more chords. One or more. Raise your hand if you got 5 or more. 10 or more. 15. 20. 25. 30. 40. 50. 60. 70. 80. All right, so how many did you have?
71.
73, and your name is? Rebecca is our champion. Woo! Uh-huh. Perfect.
Whatever you do is great. And, you know, that's just, and you can tell your supervisor you're differentiating.
Perfect, yeah. If you didn't hear what he got to, what's your name, sir?
I'm Jerry Garcia.
Jerry. So if you didn't hear what Jerry got to say, is when they were working in their group, they knew one of the full chords, but one of the chords they needed to do as a 3-string. And so they did a 3-string on one of the chords and a full on the other. That is awesome. That's exactly what this is meant to do. Because you'll see in this, every child is still working on what their pace is. If they're on 3-string chords, cool. If they're on full chords, cool. If they're on bar chords, fantastic. If they're in combo chords, like what Jerry's group did, that's great. But also, they were able to change at what speed they were able to go. So if you still have this kid, they're included. If you got the kid, they're included. Everybody's included. And so that's one of the really great things about this is that it's working at what pace, student-centered. When that principal comes in and says, what are they doing? Well, we're doing a student-centered activity. Everybody is successful and is differentiated. Chord changing, chord accuracy, comfort zone, because once again, remember you were friends for 10 years, so you're best friends. If you mess up, it's okay, right? You can do this activity when they're not friends, like they're just people in the class, and it still does work. So if you're like, well, they talk too much when they're with their friends, you can mix it up. Scaffolding. So, yeah, the next one. Dados again. So if you were to do this as a warm-up activity, you would write down, today I got 9, and I felt good. Now we're going to go to the next day, or a week later, and I got 16. Last time I had 9, so I got 7 more, and I'm successful. And you did math. You're supporting math skills. I know, it's getting there.
Will these data wells be in your notes?
Yes, all these slides will be there. So you'll be able to see how they're set up. And I'm a big email and texter, and at the end I'll give you my contact information if you have further questions. So, and then you also see, though, this particular student went down on the next day. Maybe he was being silly, or maybe he really was just struggling, and it's taking him a little extra time. And it might be, well, no, you're doing the same chord because you're measuring the progress on the same chord. Yeah. So he went down one, but it also helps the kid understand, oh, I need to kick it back in order to keep growing, because they're not going to want the kid next to them to beat them in their minds. They're going to want to have more than that other kid. Oh, we're blue screen. The other thing you'll notice is at the corner it had the kid's name. His name was Juan. And it said underneath it A and D. The reason why you have to go on the same chord because you're measuring the progress on that chord. So if you change chords and do A and D on one day and you do C and F on the next day, you're no longer measuring the same thing. So you'll have to make a new chart if you want to do C and F. Also, if you're teaching high school and you're like, well, they're beyond that, I need something more complicated, you can do it by chord progression, that they have to go through a whole chord progression. So it doesn't have to be just 2 chords. It could be switching between 4 chords, or it could be, switching from 2 very difficult chords as well to kind of keep it going. All right, next slide. I love this. So everybody should have a blank sheet of paper. Is there anybody who did not receive a blank sheet of paper? Excellent. Fold the sheet of paper in half. Awesome. Unfold your paper now. Draw a line in that crease. Okay. So this activity we're going to do on one half of our page. We have 3 activities we'll be using this paper for, so that's why we divided it up, so you can use the same paper throughout. So in one half of your page, I want you to draw a hashtag. I would make it maybe a quarter of a size of a page. So your half size, make it half of your section. If you made it bigger, it's okay. All right. If you want to be fancy, you could tell your students, draw sharp. Okay. I used to say number sign, but they all kind of look at me like, what? So, all right. Now, I want you for a moment to think about which chords you know. It can be 2 chords, it can be 3 chords, it can be 20 chords. In each box of your hashtag, I want you to write a chord you know. If you only know 2 chords, you're only going to be alternating those chords throughout your hashtag. If you know 3 or 4 chords, you'll be alternating those. But you want to fill up every box with the name of a chord you know. Go ahead and do that now. Background music while we're doing this. At the volume of piano, and piano means gentle, soft, I want you to play the first line of your hashtag going across. Do that now. Perfect. Now do the second line across. Ready, set, go. Nice. Do the third line across. Ready, set, go. Now I want you to do it the first column, which is up and down vertical. Ready, set, go. Now do the second column. Now do the third column. Now go diagonal. Now go diagonal the other way. Now, we're going to go retrograde, which means we're going to go backwards across the first one. Ready, set, go. Now we're going to go from the first column from the bottom to the top, inversion. Ready, set, go. And stop. So I can't take full credit for this game. In the back corner is Mr. Rodney Dittmar, and he taught me how to do this game. Yes? This is a great game. First of all, whether you know 2 chords or 20 chords, it works. The students can do it by themselves. I actually make a checklist on the board that says horizontal, vertical, retrograde, inversion, diagonal, and make them kind of check off what they're doing. And while they're doing this activity, I go around the room and tune guitars. So, because they can do this activity, if their guitar's out of tune, it's not going to kill them. But it gives you a chance to keep them busy, because if you have a large class of kids, if you have 20 kids and you're trying to tune guitars and everybody gets in line, somebody's going to poke somebody in the face. It happens every time. So this gives an opportunity to keep them busy while you're doing something else. In addition to that, they're still learning. It's not like you're giving them busy work. What are they learning in this activity? Changing chords.
Using the correct vocabulary, so if you're talking about doing retrograde, knowing what that means.
Yeah, you're teaching them 20th century music theory. I know, it's kind of mind-blowing, isn't it? They're creating chord progressions. Okay, they're writing, they're composing. Anything else? Yeah, they're having to work by themselves. You can have them work in a pair on this when you get started, but it will become something that's individualized. And once again, if you have that kid that's really up here, they can have, B flat diminished chord on theirs if they want. And the student over here can have A chord and D chord, and their whole chart is A chord and D chord. When you get to songwriting, it seems like we can write lyrics really well for songwriting, that kids don't have a problem with that. But then you say, let's put chords with it. And they go like this, I don't know what to put down. So I'll tell them to make a tic tac. Now, yes, I know according to the laws of music theory, it should end on a 1 chord, and a 4 and a 5 in there is kind of nice too. And they're going to have some really out there little progressions. And it's okay. Because you know what happens? They go like this. Can I change this chord? I think I'd like this one better. Now they're evaluating what they're doing, and they're making decisions based upon their musical knowledge of what they think will make a better song. So it's okay if they play something, you get like, actually that worked out, but that was D7, E minor, by the way. But sometimes you'll get some things that just don't work, and if that's the case, it's okay. They're learning. Yes?
I would think that they would also want to learn a new chord so that they have something new to put on the chart.
They do. If they're a middle schooler or a high schooler, that's when you'll notice like they start sneaking out their cell phone. And you start going over there like, what are you doing? I got you. Give it to me. And you're like looking, you're like, so-and-so's chord dictionary of 500 chords online. Oh, okay, go ahead. Because they'll start doing that. And some kids, especially in your upper level middle school and high school classes, will start trying to think about alternate fingerings and alternate chords with it, because they're using it not just as, and this is an activity to keep me busy while the teacher takes attendance. They're looking at it as a way that they can explore without anybody judging them. Because there is no judgment. Whatever your tic-tac is, it is. And it's very serendipitous. Sometimes you're like, oh, look, it worked, and sometimes it doesn't. But it's a wonderful activity. But you're like, okay, 3 chords in a row, but we want to do something a little more complicated than that. So what I'd like you to do is, still on that same half side, I want you to draw 3 vertical lines and 3 horizontal lines. Yeah, intersecting. So you're making like a super hashtag. Maybe. Now I want you to fill every box you have there with a chord you know.
What if I don't know enough chords to fill all the boxes?
If you know 1 chord, you can fill all the boxes. Yeah, you repeat chords. So if you just know A and D, then you're just putting A, D, 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 A, D, A, D.
And do they have to, can you put 2 of the same chords together?
You can. If you only know 2 or 3 chords, you're going to end up putting chords next to each other that are the same. Once your students get more advanced and they know more chords, especially at the secondary level, then sometimes you'll start making rules that you can't put the same chord next to each other. Or you might make a rule saying you can make this, but you can't have any E minor chords. Because otherwise you'll get kids in 7th grade who put every box as E minor. because we like that chord. It's easy. So you can put rules onto your tic tacs. All right, at a level piano, play your first one across, horizontally. Ready, set, go. Good. Play your first one vertically. All right. I think you get the idea with adding more columns. Next slide. And then the next one. You can see this one. He decided he wanted to fill up his entire dry erase board with it. By the way, this little kid, he comes in, he doesn't know anything about guitar. And he worked really hard at it, and he's an amazing guitarist now. He can play all the Beatles licks. He got a Beatles dictionary, learned them all. He's also one of my best players in the mariachi, so he does both modern band and mariachi. So fantastic, and it all started with doing, can I do more than just 3, miss? Yeah, go ahead. Can I do 4? Sure. Can I do the whole page? Whatever works for you, kid. So, but also, one of the things you can do is improvise strumming with it. You don't have to just do this. You can do other things with it. So if we go to the next page, oh, I guess I kind of jumped. This shows differentiation. You can see he's got a whole bunch. The one in the back just has a hashtag. The one up there has 4. We call that the mega tic tac. We have tic tac, mega tic tacs, and the tic tac matrix. You can come up with your own names if you'd like, but that's what they called it on their own, so we kind of went with it. Next. All right, so this is what happens when they start to take that tic tac to the next level. Go. Aldrich. He's wonderful. So one of the kids in there, if you look at the girl next to the boy who played. She's got a great big smile on her face. She's enjoying it. Even though she's not the one performing, she's enjoying the performance of the kid in her class. Those two are not friends. In fact, do I have to sit by him? Yes, you do. Really? By the end of the class, no, they're not friends. They're going to hang out at lunchtime together. But they were able to make music together, no complaints, none of the poking each other kind of things. She's happy for his performance. Isn't that some of what we're working for? It's beautiful. The kid, when he was finished, and he does his little bows, how is he feeling? He's proud. He feels like $1 million. He's like, I made a song. And he played that song for 3 weeks afterwards, too. He's great. He plays guitar in the mariachi now. He doesn't play guitar now, but they're excited. They're creating something. They are proud. And they did it by varying what the strumming pattern was. If you want to, you can take your tic tac. You don't have to put chords in it. You can put rhythm patterns in it. You can put strumming patterns. Everybody's grabbing their pen. Little Kids Rock has those lists of the strumming patterns. They're A, B, C, D, E, F, G. You might have them put the letter of the strumming pattern, and if you don't want them to write the whole pattern out in there. So that's other things you can do. You can take it and make it like, well, you're going to use just the A chord, but you're going to put dynamics in there. So they have to play it soft or loud or mezzo forte, not quite so loud. Mezzo piano, not quite so soft. Pianissimo. So that's another way to take vocabulary and make it more exciting, because vocabulary in itself is not exciting. Playing games is fun. That's exciting. So that's another way to take this game to the next level. Can we skip past the starred slides? Simon Says Chords. All right, so what I need you to do is to find a group, and you're going to have to maybe turn to people behind you or in front of you. Make a group of about 5 people. You can have 6. It works with 4, but 5 or 6 is best. So go ahead, make friends. It's okay if you have more than 6. You can have 7. It's cool. All right. So, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Attention. Thank you. So, in this group, you're going to pick one person to be Simon. Simon says, play the A chord. And you will play the A chord. Simon says to play. Simon says to. If Simon doesn't say to do it, he says play A chord, and you play A chord, you're out. Just like you played when you were on the playground when you were in elementary school. Okay. Any questions about the rules? At this time, choose somebody to be Simon in your group. Yes. Then just skip it for now. Just skip it for now. Yeah. All right. All right, before I say go, if I can have your attention one more time. Please keep in mind that your group may have many different levels on it, so please don't ask them to play a B-flat chord. Please pick chords that you think that they might know. So, on your mark, get set. Simon says. All right, now then you're the new Simon. You got 45 minutes. 45 minutes? Huh?
Sorry, I've been listening. I was very...
Understand.
Very unplugging shit.
So, they're moving.
Sorry, what?
They're All right. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So Simon Says Chords is also a wonderful, wonderful thing to do when you're tuning guitars, because it's something that the kids are independently working on, independently in groups, but they don't need you to stand in front and say, now do this, now do that. They're working in their own groups doing that. But here, this is my favorite, one of my favorite stories. So remember Joshua, the kid with the whistle at the beginning. So Joshua's group is doing Simon Says Chords. And my expectations when I dreamed up this game in the middle of the night was that they would play chords and it would get them to switch chords better. So I'm like, okay, I'm walking around the room tuning and I'm listening and here's a little group, you know, Simon says play A chord, Simon says play E minor chord. And I'm like, okay, well, you know, they're doing their same. But Joshua is Simon, and Joshua really likes being the winner. You know, meanwhile, the kids in his group are like the Cracker Jack kids, like, you know, the ones that just seem like they catch on to everything really fast. And it just happened to be one of those when they picked their own group, they got together. So then all of a sudden I hear Simon says play the A chord 4 times. Simon says play E minor, you know. So they're starting to get more. Simon says play the A chord in a 1/4 to 1/8 2/4 pattern. All right.
Right.
I'm going with this. I'm thinking this is great. Simon says play a 1-4-5-1 progression in the key of D. Now, not only am I excited because this group is the one that gets in a little mischief sometimes, and they're completely engaged, and they're completely focused. I'm thinking, holy smokes, I taught them what a chord progression was. I'm a good teacher, you know. So, and then, but they weren't done yet, and so they're doing all this crazy stuff. Play chord progression in this rhythm pattern, you know. Put this in here. Oh, Simon didn't say to play a 5-7 chord, and you're hearing this language like Simon didn't say to play a 5-7 chord. Where am I? Am I really? You know. Room 110, okay, that's where I'm supposed to be. So then I hear, Simon says play deep in the heart of Texas in the key of G. And they do it. And then the next thing was Simon says play deep in the heart of Texas in the key of C. And they do it. And I'm going, they're transposing. If my college trumpet professor could see me now, I'm teaching them transpose because I couldn't do it very well in college, but they can. They're transposing, to me it was amazing because they were saying things key of D, key of G, key of C. They did it in 3 keys. They're 11 years old and playing in 3 different keys on their own of their own volition of a song that they learned. So it was fun. Simon says improvise a 4-note solo, and they would do it. So Simon doesn't just have to stay with chords. And some of your kids are not going to be able to move along themselves like that. They're going to need some guidance for you. So on your board, it could be Simon says, and you might put on their topic today, chords and rhythms. Simon says topic today, chord progressions, especially in your secondary level. Elementary, you might not really be in chord progressions, but in secondary, that is something to challenge it, to make this game, which seems like it would just be for little kids, be okay if you're a middle school or high school. And my 8th graders do play this. In fact, they ask to play it, and then they try to come up with the most complicated things to do. Simon says play the Nirvana solo in the middle, like, smells like Teen Spirit. Oh, you didn't do the bend right. So, I mean, as their abilities get more complex and they have more skills, Simon Says becomes more complicated. And so when you're selling it to your kids, be like, okay, yeah, anybody can play the little kid game, but can you play it at this level? Are you a Simon Says ninja? And they look, well, yeah, it's a baby game. I can play this. And suddenly they find out that they're not winning. So they start bringing up more things to the game, more things to the table. So I love Simon Says Chords. So please play it. Yes.
Can I ask a question? Since you said these are things that can be done during tuning,
Yes.
because I found that when we're trying to tune guitars, that the tuner's picking up vibrations from other guitars besides the one that I have in my hand.
So
I was wondering how you manage that.
it has to do with the quality of your tuner and the settings on your tuner. I have the snark tuners, but you have to be careful on the back. On some of them, it'll say, you can flip a switch where it'll get all the surrounding sounds, and you can flip the switch the other way, and it just picks up the vibrations from that guitar. So,
I need to know.
yeah, that's what it is, VIB.
Not all the snarks have that.
I have the red ones.
Well, there's red, blue, and black, and some do and some don't. But so check that in the back. And
It's a switch on the side that says mic/vibe. So if it's on microphone, it'll pick out the surrounding sounds. If it's on vibe, it'll only pick out the unit that it's hearing. Okay.
thank you for that. Yeah. So if you didn't hear what she said, on the back of some of the snarks it says mic and vibe. Yeah, on the side. So if you have one of those types of tuners, check that switch. Other tuners I'm not familiar with for that. So we're actually going to move backwards in a presentation to a game called Chord Progression Whip Around. Okay. Oops, right there. So, do we know A? We feel pretty good with A? Do we feel pretty good with D? Do we feel pretty good with E? Sure. A chord, if you're going to do a full A chord, is in box 2, strings 2, 3, and 4. If you're going to do simple A, it's box 2, strings 2 and 3. D chord is box 2, string 1, box 2, string 3, and box 3, string 2. Remember, we go like an elevator from bottom to top. Okay. And then you have the E chord, box 1, string 3, box 2, strings 4 and 5. If you want to do simple E, just box 1, string 3, strum bottom 3. There is no simple D. Okay. It's a triangle chord. So, simple E is box 1, string 3. Okay. If I could have your attention for a moment. If you are not able to play D yet, it's not part of your vocabulary for this game's purpose, so you can still participate. If you put your finger in box 2, string 1, and just play that single string by itself, that's a D. So that way you're still able to participate in the activity. Excellent. All right, so give me 2 A's. I'm sorry, 4 A's. Ready, set, go. Give me 4 D's. Ready, go. Give me 4 E's. Ready, go. All right. 1, 4, 5, 1. We gotta love that. So this game works like this. She's gonna play 4 A's. She's gonna play 4 D's. He's gonna play 4 E's. He's gonna play 4 A's. She's going to play 4 what? D's. He's going to play 4. She's going to play 4. But here's the thing. You got to keep the beat. So if you're doing here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and the next person goes, oh, wait, what's my chord? Oh, it's this one? They're out. Okay? So let's give it a try. So it starts A, D, E, right? Okay, so, I'm sorry, that's you. Okay. No. I find when you can repeat the A if you're wanting to add a level of challenge to your group, but to start off by not repeating it, it'll help people keep track of where they are in the progression.
I can see this. This would be a fun thing to do with just the whole song.
Yeah.
First person plays the first measure chord, next person plays the next measure. Every kid has to keep up with where you are in the song. What the next one.
Exactly. And it also helps if there's somebody who's not able to switch real fast. You know, in this, you know, you guys play this chord and you guys play this chord is a great technique, but sometimes you need to change it up a little bit. It also makes them learn different chords. If this group is always the A group and this group is always the D group, this group is really good at A, but they don't know much about D. So by doing it as a rotation through, it forces the kids to have to know other chords, have to learn the other chords. Because they're going to want to be like, I won, I had it in the right spot. Because kids are very competitive and they like to win. And what's winning? Whatever you say winning is. If you say winning is playing your 4 chords in the right spot, you won, fantastic. Where they win a smile. Okay? You know, if that's great. So, the other way to do this, remember those data walls? That was a nice tempo. It was nice and slow and steady. But what if you clicked it up a notch? You ready, second row? Okay, you're A. We're going to go this speed. Ta, 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 ta. 1, 2, ready, go. E. Now, we're going to go this fast, third row. 1, 2, ready, go. D, E, A. Now, fourth row. Are you ready? Have you kind of like pre-thought what you probably are in the pattern? That's what I used to do when I did this. I would think, what am I going to be? Okay. 1, 2, ready, go. All right, fifth row. You ready? Okay, you guys decide your fifth row is kind of jaggedy here. Have you figured out what how you get what your row is? Okay. 1, 2, ready, go. Whew. So, all right, fifth row, yeah. What happened if somebody messed up when we were doing this?
Keep going.
We just kept going. You don't have to be like, you messed up. Because what's that kid going to do? They know they messed up. And if they don't know, you can help them out a little bit later when they're not in front of their friends so they can save face, you know. Okay. So you just you keep going and kind of prompt. It's okay because if somebody makes a mistake, people get lost where they are. That way keep it going. This is a circle game. You can do this in groups too if you have some more independent students in your class. So that's called whip around chords. Also, I'll do whip arounds and I won't tell them what it is right away, but I'll go like this. A, D, E minor, F, C. It's a way I test. because that's fast. And if I come through like this, and I'm like, C, and they go, oh, you missed it. Okay, and you keep going. Usually I'll find, because you know your kids. If you know you have to go a little bit slower with your group because they're still kind of looking at it, they'll go slower. But if you know that some of it's because they're too busy going like this and everything, oh, my turn, what? What was that? Keep it going. Come get that kid another time around, okay? So that kind of helps keep things moving because they don't want to be that kid that, oh, I didn't get to play my chord. So it also, they don't want to be the one who goes, I didn't know E minor. Okay, they don't want to know that. All right, can we go to Mad Lib Blues? Oh, bucket of chords. Hold on, let's go to bucket of chords. We got 30 minutes? I forgot about bucket of chords. Okay, so on the other half of the paper, you drew a line on, so on the second half, okay, we're going to pretend that this is your bucket. I want you to write down all the chords you know. If you only know 2, write 2. If you know 10, write 10. If you know a whole lot of chords because you're super advanced, just write, 10 of the common ones. If you want to draw a bucket, you can draw a bucket. Now, in your bucket are all chords that you should feel successful that you could play. I want you right now to circle 3 of them. Any 3. Doesn't matter what they are. Now, I want you to play those 3 chords in any order you want at a level piano. Ready, set, go. You just improvised a chord progression. I know. So now, you'll find your kids will just sort of like, oh, I got my progression I just made up. I'm really proud of this. They want to keep playing it too. So I want you now, this time we circled chords, but this time I want you not to circle them, but I want you to choose any 4 chords, and I want you just to play them. And I want you to do it by the time I count to 10. Ready, set, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Stop. You improvised. It wasn't single note improvising. It was chordal improvising, but it was still improvisation. And sometimes, it's fun to do the 2-note solo. And they can do 4 notes. But with younger students, changing that string from the bottom string to the second string can be really challenging. Maybe you found that in your room, maybe not, but you still want them to improvise. You still want them to have that spontaneity about things. And so this is a way to improvise using chords. But if I looked at one of my students and said, I want you to improvise chords, usually they go, I don't know. What do you want me to do? Well, we've sat in class for 4 months now, and you don't know anything? But this way, when you have bucket of chords, they have a safety. It's kind of like when you used to have those worksheets when you were in elementary school, and they had the little box at the top with the words in it, that the answers had to be in that box, the word bank. This is your chord bank, or bucket of chords. So this is a way to have them improvise progressions. What else do you think this will be useful for? Bingo, composing. Once again, they write these beautiful lyrics. We do all these songwriting units, and you say, okay, put chords with it. I don't know. Yes, you do know. They're in your bucket. Okay? They're in your bucket. Miss, this chord doesn't sound right in my bucket. Choose another chord in your bucket. Keep choosing chords until you find chords in your bucket you like. What also could you use bucket with? Rhythms. Most of the other games, yeah. Rhythms, dynamics. If you are teaching them single note letter names, which you might be doing at a secondary level, that's how I originally learned this game. I learned it when I at Interlochen, I had a teacher that was like, okay, you're going to improvise in your trumpet. I don't know how. Sure you do. Here's your bucket of notes you know. And that's where bucket of notes came from. Those are the notes that I knew on my trumpet. Now pick some and play them. Okay. So now you're telling your guitar players the same things. Here's chords, you know. Pick some and play them. And it starts getting them away from that fact that, oh, I have to have a paper in front of me that tells me what chord to play. It starts getting them to listen to what they're playing as well. Choose another bucket. I mean, not another bucket. Choose another progression from your bucket. Ready, set, go. And in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thank you. If on a secondary level, to differentiate some more, you can say, you can do this, but I don't want any major chords. They all have to be sevenths, diminished, minors. Maybe you might not use that as a composition technique, so you're probably going to come up with some pretty interesting sounds. But it could be something to force them into learning different chords as well. So, yes?
I could use it like as a formative assessment to just kind of see where each kid is.
Because, yeah. And you're right, because sometimes you think the kid knows the D chord, and then all of a sudden, like 3 weeks later, you're like, he has no idea what a D chord is. And it is a way to catch earlier on, because if he doesn't know the D chord, he's not going to put the D chord in his bucket, because you told him only put the ones you know. You also can make rules like, okay, you can put the ones that you know using the chord chart. You can use the ones that are, I'm going to take the chord chart away from you now. Or you can only use chords you know, plus the chords you have stars by on the chord chart, you know, however you want to do it. But there's a way that you can add, if some kid needs some extra support, it's a way to support them by having a chart with them. You can use simple chords for these chords, but you must use a full chord for these chords. It's another way to do that with your bucket. And how I do that is I have them put a little tiny S, like a superscript, right next to the chord for simple chord. So the way to differentiate. So I know, are they playing simple G7 or are they playing full G7? Because in middle school, I want to move them up into full G7 as soon as possible. Elementary school, you might stick on simple the whole time. All right, Mad Lib Blues. All right. When you do Mad Lib Blues, you cannot reveal what your Mad Lib is. If you don't know what a Mad Lib is, it was a game that was really popular in the 80s with kids who were like 8 years old. And they'd give you a book, and they would say, you know, write a noun, write a verb, write this or that. But they would not tell you what the story was. And then you'd read the story based upon those words that were given, and they turn out really silly. Okay? So they're silly. So on your paper on the back side, if you need more room, I want you to number 1 to 10. I suppose there's not a way for me to look at the next slide without them seeing it, is there? Because I forgot my paper. Huh? Okay. I'll see if I can remember it. No, that's okay. All right, so number 1, give me a color. Any color. Well, write it on your paper. Number 2, give me a time. Number 3, give me the color that you gave me for number 1. Same color. Give me an animal. Give me a person. Give me a time. A length of time, sorry. A length of time. The other one, it can be a season or a specified time, but the second one has to be a length of time. Next, give me a temperature. It can be specific or general. And the last one is give me a verb, an action verb. I know the old one was 12, this one's 8. I apologize. There's 8 is an action verb. 9, 10, 11, 12 don't exist. I'm sorry, that was the old one. All right. I'm going to make a slight disclaimer before I reveal to you the Mad Lib. I don't remember if the animal was in this Mad Lib or not. So we go to the next screen. If there's no animal there, then just skip that one. So, all right. Oops, there we go. So now, to yourself, read what it is, substituting the numbers. So somebody's going to have, I've got the ceruleans. All right. Did you come up with some interesting things? Do I have somebody who would like to be a member of a blues band? Can I have a drummer and a guitarist? Go on up. I need a drummer, a guitarist, a bassist. Just a 12-bar blues is what we're doing. So a bassist, drummer, we need a guitarist. All right, and now I'm going to need somebody who wants to sing their Mad Lib Blues. All right, we got a singer. Awesome. I think the mic is live up there. Let's check it out. Excuse me. Yeah, there's a keyboard up here. Somebody wants to play keyboard. Yeah, you have sound? On mic? No.
Hello, hello, check, check, hello, checking. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Hello, check, check, check. Yeah, there it is.
There we got some sound. All right, do you know which key you want your blues in? Do you have a preference?
Let's just stick with A.
Blues and A? All right. Why don't we go ahead and let them do a 12-bar intro, and then you can go ahead and take your blues. So, all right, here we go. This is the Guitar Games Blues Band. We're going to do a 12-bar intro just of a blues progression, and then she'll come in. Whenever you want to.
Away, my mama's drowning in your tank.
Anybody else want to sing their blues? And that was an amazing performance. Certainly there's another blues singer. Ah, awesome, awesome. Blues band, would you mind sticking around for another set? All right. The house band. House blues band. You are from?
St. Pete, Florida.
This is Megan from St. Pete, Florida. Let's give her another round of applause. We have Miss Chicago.
How y'all doing out there? Glad y'all came out tonight.
This is Bridget from Chicago. Woo! All right, we're going to do a 12-bar intro for you and then take it away. Awesome. Thank you, Bridget. And on guitar we have
Rebecca from Chicago.
Woo! And on bass,
Jeremy from the South Bronx.
woo!
CJ from California.
Woo!
And Natalie from Montana.
Woo! We got the whole country covered on that one. That was awesome. That was awesome. This is so much fun to do Mad Lib Blues, or maybe Mad Lib Purples as we had. You'll get some pretty wild answers. The kids they'll laugh so hard. So the question is, how do you create a Mad Lib, that's not just this one? You'll have this one available for you. But what I did is I actually wrote a blues verse. My blues verse originally said, I've got the blues, the summertime blues. My dog ran away and my mom grounded me for life. It's so hot outside, I think I'm going to die, was the original one. So then I went back and I took out certain words to make them have something to insert into it. And so they become really silly. I get a lot of my mailman grounded me for 10 seconds, things like that with it. Another thing that helps with this, if you have English language learners, they can use vocabularies that they know. So it really, and also you can help them learn new vocabulary words within that as well. So this works really well if you have an ELL population with it. Also, you'll notice as your blues band started singing and the person got more comfortable with it, what did they start to do? Improvise. And we also start to see stage presence happen, because the kids think, oh, this is a silly song. I can be silly too, So they really enjoy it. So Mad Lib Blues is usually a project towards the middle of the year for middle school.